Now that's some good advice. All right. Come on, you cowboys and cowgals, let's get going. We're heading to Dallas, Texas. You know anything about Dallas? I found out a couple of things about Dallas that you might find interesting. Hold on a second. Not that. That's wrong. Hold on. All right, let's get some lights on. Yeah. All right, Dallas fun facts. Dallas fun facts. I gotta turn this down a little bit. I love that song. Oh, I love that song. So Dallas fun facts. The frozen margarita machine was invented in Dallas. Who knew? The integrated circuit computer chip, which became the microchip, was invented in Dallas in 1958. Now here's the most important fact. The 50-foot big tech statue that greets visitors at the annual State Fair of Texas is the tallest cowboy in all of Texas. The list goes on and on and on of interesting things about Dallas. I'll just kind of scroll down and you can always rewind and watch them again. So Dallas obviously has a lot of history. There was a series done about Dallas too. Do you remember that way long ago? I wasn't a big watcher of it because it would have been at a time when I was a much younger guy and I had more interesting things to do than to watch a soap opera type program like that. But Dallas was a very popular program for a long time. I don't know any of the stats on it, but if anybody wants to quickly look up the stats on that old Dallas program that used to be on TV and post it, that would be really cool. And who knows, you might get something special out of it. So, but let's focus on our task at hand right now, which is an unboxing. This box has been sitting here for a little bit as Alberto down in Dallas, Texas has been patiently waiting to see how did UPS do, how did the UPS store do down in Dallas in packing his treasure. Well, based on what I'm seeing on the outside of the box, truthfully, they did a pretty crummy job. First of all, their box is probably in the top 5 of the worst corrugated cardboard boxes that I've seen on this workbench for an unboxing. It's collapsing in from the sides. It's collapsing in from the top. It buckles right here with one pinky. I'll hold the top with my hand, but it's buckling in with one pinky from the side. So how much protection from impacts is it protecting the machine inside? Not very much. So in my opinion, a definite, from what I'm seeing at this point, the first impression of the packing job that the UPS store did down in Dallas, Texas, is a big thumbs down. A big thumbs down. And I'm going to keyword this premiere so that if people do searches of the UPS store down in Dallas, Texas, it'll come up in the search. And that way other customers will, you know, I don't want to take business away from UPS. They're good folks, but they're doing a crummy job of protecting vintage sewing machines. People need to know that before they choose them to ship their treasure to wherever it's going to go, whether it's the workshop here in Oconto, Wisconsin, or whether it's somewhere else. You know, do the job right and we will give you a thumbs up and praise you. Do a crummy job and I'm going to make the whole world know to avoid the UPS store down in Dallas, Texas, with all the other great things that Dallas has to offer. So a quick test of how much you were paying attention at the very beginning to this premiere. And if you can type it close to 100% accurate in the chat, if you can type it close to 100% accurate in the chat to catch the overall meaning of that sign that I displayed, which is above my other workbench, then I'll send you something special. Again, only during the premiere. You can't rewind it after the premiere and say, oh, I know what it said. Here's what it said. But if you were paying attention, I stayed fixed on that little cutout marquee sign above my other workbench for quite a while. And it's got a fun little saying that I, as a cowboy at heart, I really like it. I really, really like it. Okay, let me put some other music on and we will jump into Alberto Orozco's unboxing. And let me tell you a little bit about Alberto. Sometimes you're talking to somebody over the phone. It might be for personal reasons. It might be for business, whatever. And as you're talking to them, based on their voice, you form certain impressions. You make certain assumptions about what does that person look like? What are they all about? Their voice tells a story about who they might be. Well, when Alberto called me from Dallas, Texas, first of all, I was intrigued when I saw the caller ID come up as Dallas, Texas. I was like, yeah, that's one of my Texas people calling me. I don't care what I'm doing. I'm going to drop it. Well, no, I'm going to set it down carefully because it's probably a customer's machine. But I'm going to set it down carefully with urgency, and I'm going to pick this call up because I love my Texas people. I just do. And when I answered the call, I heard a very youthful, young voice. And I thought, oh, it's a young guy. Cool. Some young guy getting into sewing, and he's got questions about, what machine to get or whatever it is. And we started talking, and he started sharing some things about this machine, and he quickly made a decision to say, yep, you're the only one that I want to send it to. There's other options down here in Dallas, but they're not going to be nearly as good as what you can do from what I've seen on your YouTube channel and Facebook. Not nearly as good as you can do up there in O'Connell, Wisconsin. So I was like, wow, thank you. Thank you very much. And then he asked a question, very direct and very a matter of fact. He goes, and let me rewind a little bit. After he shared that he had been in teaching for many, 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 many decades, I said, hold on a second, Alberto. You sound like you're probably in your 20s by your voice. How the heck could you have been in teaching and retired now for like 30, 40 years? How is that possible? What? I can do basic math, so I'm like, this isn't adding up. He goes, how old do you think I am? I said, gosh, I don't know. And that age question always makes me nervous. Does it make you nervous? Someone says, well, how old do you think I am? And if you guess too young or too old, if you guess too young, they think that you're being disingenuous and you're just making it up. If you guess too old, then you probably made an enemy, especially if it's let's just be honest, especially if it's a lady. But most ladies are wise enough, they're not going to ask you to guess their age. Sometimes they do. The ones that have gotten into mid-age and beyond, they just don't care, which I think is awesome. They get to a point where like, I don't care how old I am. I know I look good. I know I'm sexy. I know that I'm, whatever. And I'm not going to worry about age. Age is just a number. So Alberto asked me that tricky, slippery slope question of, how old do you think I am? I'm thinking, oh, shoot, holy mackerel. I'm on the slope and it's slippery and I just don't want to go this direction, even though it's a guy. It's dangerous territory. But he finally presses me a little bit and I said, I don't know. Are you in your 40s? He laughs. He's got such a rich, earthy laugh. It's fabulous. It's fabulous. I love his laugh. I could call him every single day, a couple times a day, and just say, Alberto, would you laugh? He goes, I'm over 90 years old. I'm over 90 years old. What? Yeah. So Alberto has had this machine sitting for a while, and I don't remember all the story that he shared because I was still dwelling in the place of, what? This guy is almost a centennial person, and he sounds like he's a kid? I'm so confused. So, but he finally made a decision to do some searching and reach out, and he decided to ship it here by way of UPS down in Dallas, Texas. So I'm excited to get into this and see if UPS did a better job, hopefully, on the inside than they did in choosing the container on the outside. Now let me give them the benefit of the doubt for just a second. And let's say that somehow in transporting this box from where Alberto or Roscoe is down in Dallas, Texas, let's just say that it was a rainy day and the box got wet. Maybe as it was sitting on a loading dock getting ready to go onto a truck. Maybe as it was coming off of one truck and going onto another truck somewhere between Dallas and Oconto, Wisconsin, the box got wet. Well, if you know anything about cardboard, and it's the reason that I do not ship in cardboard, unless it's a small sewing part or something like that, then I might use a cardboard box. But for shipping machines, not going to do it. Because there's so many variables that you have no control over in transit, the weather, impact issues, things getting spilled on the box as it's sitting in a freight station or something like that. Somebody comes by with a soda and dumps a soda on top of it, and they don't notice it or they don't care, and it soaks through, and then it gets all the stuff sticky on the inside. I've actually had that happen, not making it up. So that's why I use plastic heavy-duty totes. They're nearly waterproof. They provide a lot better protection than corrugated, especially poor corrugated cardboard like this. And so I always encourage folks to ship with totes. Many of you followed that advice, and guess what? If you follow the other packing principles as well, your machine arrived here without a scratch. And since I follow the same principles, I don't just talk the talk, I walk the walk. Since I follow the same principles of packing for extreme circumstances and using a tote as an exterior shell, your machine arrived back to you fine as well. And that's the best of all stories, isn't it? When you can ship a machine, it arrives, without a scratch, traveling hundreds, sometimes thousands of miles. And you can ship that machine back as well. I've shipped all over the world, and I am so thankful that I am very, very regimented about my packing approach, because it really has saved some vintage machines a couple of times. As a matter of fact, one going down to Texas one time, I've told you this story before, but for you new folks on the channel, I had a person call me. I think he was from Houston. He wasn't from Dallas, but he called me from Houston. And this is a rugged man. I think he had been a truck driver. He had been former Army. I mean, he was rough and tough and about as thick-skinned as you get. And he was almost in tears when he called me to say that my tote had arrived. He found it on the porch when he got back. And this is many, many, many months ago. This is not recent. But he found it on the porch, and the left side of the tote was crushed down almost 50% of the way down. I mean, just crushed. And he hadn't even had the heart to open it yet. I said, open it, and I'll stay on the phone with you. And, in my mind, I'm thinking, this guy is probably like lumberjack material, and he's almost breaking down here. I totally get it, because he's so excited about this machine. But I'm going to stay on the phone, try to encourage him. And so he starts taking the strapping tape off. He gets the lid off. He digs past the peanuts. I think they landed all over the ground on his porch. He didn't care. He pulls out the inner cocoon machine, and he starts stripping that off like an onion. And he gets all of it off, and there's this dramatic pause. Now, I'm not on video with him, so I have no idea what he's seeing. I have no idea. And all of a sudden, he lets out almost, I'm not making this up, he lets out almost a girlish giggle. And this is a lumberjack guy, for gosh sakes. He goes, it's perfect. It's perfect. Your packing process protected this machine even through the most extreme circumstances. I wish I had recorded it, because that would have been like a commercial for this packing method that I've developed and that people are using all over the place now. Even fellow vintage competitive sellers I got a call from one guy in Minnesota one time, or a note, I don't remember. He goes, I have to confess something. I've been using your packing method since you introduced it and you showed us how to do it. And I get so much praise from my customers about my packing method. I said, the reason that I shared it was so that people could claim it as theirs. So that's your packing method now. And I'm glad your customers love it. And I'm glad it's getting you results. Isn't that the way it's supposed to be? Isn't it? We should try to be as generous as we can in helping folks. Now, certain things are proprietary, and people will ask me questions about my business, and I just have to turn it back on them and say, I can't answer that. Because ultimately, down the road sometime, I'm going to decide to retire from this, as difficult and as, unbelievable as that sounds. And someone is going to take this business over from me. I pray and hope so it continues, and I can teach them all of my secrets. And that'll then be their secret to keep. But right now, the thing that is not a secret is this box sitting in front of us that we're supposed to be unboxing. Stop talking, Scott, and start cutting. Okay, I heard you. That was either Dr. Singer or Herr Obermeister. I couldn't tell. I think it was Herr Obermeister. He would have said Schnell, Schnell or something. I have no idea. All right, let's put on another song that has kind of a country flavor to it. I typed in the keyword Texas, and these are the songs that came up. So the next one is Tumbleweed, Texas. The first one was Roundup on the Prairie. Here we go. Tumbleweed, Texas. I'm seeing tumbleweeds. What about you? If you've never been out west and been driving down a highway and all of a sudden you think, oh my gosh, I got to slow down. There's an animal running across the road or something. And you slow down and it's a group of tumbleweeds. And they sometimes will roll across one way, then the wind will shift, and before you can get past them, they roll back the other way. Almost like they're taunting you. What is that about? I want some answers from the Texas people as to, do they train these tumbleweeds to torment people from out of the area? I think they do. I'm almost positive. All right, let's get into Alberto's package. And again, whenever you feel like you're ready to start guessing, by all means guess. I don't know if Alberto is going to be in attendance or not, so I might field your guesses. So again, this blade that I use, I'll just show you real quick. It's got a little screw here. You set the blade at the height that you want, and then you lock it in place so you don't cut any deeper. And I always use that just to make sure I don't cut something on the other side. But this one feels like it's got a lot of space. Again, I am not impressed so far by the Dallas, Texas UPS store. Not even close. All right, let's get into this. And Alberto, if you did make this premiere, you're more than welcome to field guesses if you'd like. If you don't want to, then I'll jump in and field guesses on your behalf. That is, if I remember what you shipped me. I've had so many machines arrive, I don't want to get my wires crossed and think it's one thing and then it turns out to be something different. Yeah, this is a horrible box, folks. Look at, even on the inside here, if you can see that, it's like bent. Yeah, this is horrible. UPS, you're a multi-billion-dollar company. Buy better cardboard, for gosh sakes. And here's our air pocket things, our airbag things. And the ones on top have survived pretty well. It's a little bit deflated on the bottom, but all in all, they made the journey nicely. Maybe UPS spent more money on their airbags than they did on their boxes. What do you think? It's possible. Yeah, I'm seeing some telltale signs that I don't like. And I hope I'm wrong. But I'm seeing even the inside box, which is a UPS packing method, I'm seeing that it's got crinkles on the cardboard, which would, I'm going to try to lean it this way. If I don't know if I'm going to be able to. The cardboard is so flimsy. Let me get some more of this, these airbags out of the way first. and then I'll try to show you. I might come off the camera. I might come off the tripod. And I'm glad that they at least put some airbags underneath the box too. That's good. And they appear to be, for the most part, intact. Yeah, I could either come off the tripod or I could just cut the front of the box open. But why don't I do that? So, I mean, since I don't ship with cardboard anyway, and there's no way in God's green earth I would ship with this box, because this box is horrible. I'm going to recycle this box anyway, so. I've got to extend my blade a little bit. It's not doing a real good job here. So yeah, they do have some airbags underneath, and actually on the far right side it feels like it might be popped, but all in all the airbags did much better than some of the recent airbags have. Yeah, what I'm feeling is, and this is part of my concern, what I'm feeling, and I can demonstrate it really by just kind of pulling the box forward, and then I'll zoom in or I'll come off the tripod so you can see the box itself. But if a machine is packed well in an inside box like this, it's going to sit flat. It's not going to have any rock factor at all. Watch what happens when I pull this forward and kind of let it loose. So that's telling me one of two things. Either the machine is not padded well on the inside and it's kind of pressing through the bottom of the box, or it's not encircled well inside of the box and it's shifted to one side, and now the weight of that machine is throwing off the balance of the box. But it's definitely not the way it should be. And if I show you, let me quickly unplug my camera. If I quickly show you by coming off the tripod the wrinkle effect, and the wrinkle effect is indicating that the box has sustained some sort of damage. See that wrinkling right there? Where it's kind of gotten buckled in, almost like something pressed down on it. Here's the same thing. And you may not be able to see it at this angle, but maybe if I come like this, it's actually bowed out. It's bowed out along there. You see that? And the top is actually kind of compressed down a little bit. So, you know, hopefully everything's okay inside of this box. But from what I'm seeing, what I saw on the outside of the box here, and now what I'm seeing on the inside is indicating that this thing was handled roughly, coming from Dallas, Texas up to Oconto, Wisconsin. And it was significant enough that with this flimsy cardboard on the outside, whatever was impacting it actually came down and impacted this box. Because otherwise, I mean, you can look at this side over here. It's pristine. There's no wrinkling, there's no buckling, there's nothing at all to indicate any impact. We come over to this side, and all of a sudden you're seeing that. Now, hopefully UPS did a good enough job on the inside, although they haven't really impressed any of us up to this point. Hopefully they've done a good enough job on the inside that whatever impact this was, it did not have an adverse effect on Alberto's sewing machine. Because that would not be cool. So let me get back on the tripod. I'll get this inner box out, and we'll continue the unpacking. We'll continue the unboxing. So did any of you post, I'm not looking at the chat, did any of you remember that little sign that's up on my wall above my other workbench? Did any of you post it? Because I'm about to show you what it is. So if you haven't posted it yet and you're like, yeah, I knew what it was. I laughed. I thought it was funny. And I remember it word for word. Well, you better type fast because I'm getting ready to swing the camera over there. And if you don't have it typed in the chat by the time I swing it over, because then I'm going to look at the chat and make sure that you aren't trying to, cheat a little bit because you want one of my light bulbs or you want one of my coffee sewing theme mugs, blah, blah, blah. So type it in now if you know it. If you don't know it, you don't know it. Okay, so we just did Tumbleweed, Texas, which really kind of threw me into a little bit of a tirade about those nasty tumbleweeds that are always rolling across the road both ways. So the next one is called Temptation. And it almost seems like, you remember me talking at the beginning about posting something about that Dallas TV program that was on many, many years ago? As a matter of fact, I think wasn't one of the stars in it Dick York or something like that? One of the two guys, because there were two different guys that played in that program many years ago called Bewitched. I don't know if you remember that, but I watched it sometimes as a kid. And one of the guys I think that played her husband in that series Bewitched was like the main character in the Dallas program, wasn't he? Am I totally screwy in the head? I think that's the case. But I don't remember I remember one of the actors, his name was Dick York. I remember it popping up on screen when I was a young boy. But I don't remember if that was him or maybe the other guy. So, okay, this next one is called Temptation. And that was my whole point in talking about that again was I remember that program, the Dallas program, again, I didn't watch it, but I think it popped on a couple of times. I remember it kind of being a steamy program and there was a lot of temptation and yeah. The Italians that love sexy things, yeah, they probably were tuned into that. You never know, but no offense to my Italian friends, by the way. Here's Temptation. Oh, I'm liking this. I'm going to turn this up a little bit. I'll take me another cup of this any day of the week. Yeah. Yes, I'm still going to go over to the sign. I'm giving you more time to type. Giving you more time to type, for goodness sakes. Ooh, that's not good. That is not good. Before I even move it from this point, I'm going to turn this box on its side and show you what I just felt with my hand. Not good. Not good. I'm going from being silly and lighthearted to a little bit angry. I'm going from silly to becoming a little bit angry. Yes, sir. And I bet you they charged Alberto a pretty penny to pack this up. I am very upset. Do you see what's coming through the bottom of that inner box? Do you know what that is? Oh, I am boiling right now. I am literally boiling. Ah! Remember me just talking about in one of the premieres? If a machine has pedestal feet, that you have to safeguard the pedestal feet on the bottom of the machine or they can get snapped off in shipment. Okay, if you have little kids or grandkids in the room right now, shoo them out because I'm about to say a very provocative word. Okay, are they out of the room? Okay, the Dallas, Texas UPS store did a crappy, let's just say an epic crappy job in protecting Alberto's machine. That is one of the pedestal feet stuck through the bottom of the box. And with as poor as the box is on the outside, that whole thing was banging against the bottom of this box through shipment the whole time. It's actually the foot sticking through there. I can feel it with my hand. Matter of fact, I'm going to open that up a little bit. Oh, I am irritated. Plus the bottom of the box is bowing out as well. The bottom of the box is bowing out. Let me widen this shot a little bit. Oh! You know what? If you don't know how to pack, close your store down in Dallas, Texas, would you? Do us all a favor. Close your store. Close your stupid store. Oh, if the grandkids are back in, I just said stupid. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to show you Alright, I'm going to zoom in on this and then I'm going to go down and shoot the porch light out on the UPS store in Dallas, Texas is what I'm about to do. So keep the grandkids and the kids out of the room because it's going to get ugly real quick here. It's going to get ugly. Yeah. Alright, let me lock this in place. So looking at the bottom, is my finger, am I even close? Ah. Okay, I'm just going to come off the tripod because this is ridiculous. I'm trying to get close enough to show you just how poorly this was packed. And Alberto struck me as a guy that he's not a get in your face guy like my other customer that had that machine arrive so damaged. Okay, that's the bottom of the machine right there, folks, and that is one of the pedestal feet sticking out through the cardboard. And I pulled it back a little bit to expose it more. But that just shows you, I mean, how poorly this machine was packed. And even as I push on that pedestal foot, I can actually rock. Can you hear that? I can actually rock the machine inside of the box, which means on the inside of the box, with all the experience I have, I can tell you that they didn't do a good job on the inside either. So Alberto, if you're watching this or if you're watching it after the premiere, I know you weren't sure if you would be available. I would get a refund. I seriously would. I would get a total refund, and you can show them this video, point them to the channel and let them look at the video. This should never have happened. This is just, well, let me just say it like my father would have said it. This is piss poor packing. And that is not a dirty word, it's alliteration. Piss poor packing. This is piss poor packing, it really is. I mean, if you're not going to pack things right, then get out of the business and make copies or whatever else you do at UPS. Ah, that's just ridiculous. That is just absolutely ridiculous. And I'm sorry if you had the grandkids back in there and they heard the PISS word. But a lot of them probably say that when they have to go to the bathroom, don't they? If they're real little guys. I remember our little guys would sometimes, I gotta go pee, or I gotta, you know, who knows. Anyway, we'll move on from that. And yeah, sorry about that. But I'm just really irritated. I'm really irritated that they would supposedly provide a professional service and do this poor of a job for Alberto. You know, and again, Alberto told me he's like in his 90s. You've got someone that is a senior citizen, I would say an ultra senior citizen, have been an educator all their lives, have worked hard for everything that they have, and they come in to make a major investment in packing it up so that, you know, so that they can have professionals take care of it for them. And they do this. Oh, God. I'm going to put on some more music. More music. All right, this one is called Lone Wolf. Lone Wolf. Oh yeah. I'm seeing a little bit of line dancing going on. And yes, I line danced when I was down in Texas. You darn right I did. I wasn't very good at it, but I did it. Oh man, I'm gonna come off the tripod again. Just to emphasize my point of what happened when this machine was being transported. You already saw the metal pedestal foot sticking through the bottom of the box. It went all the way into the other part of the box on the outside. So it was banging against concrete floors It was banging against metal bed UPS trucks. Here's part of the cardboard right there. But look at this. That should never, ever, ever, ever have happened. That is just, okay, get the kids out of the room again. I'm gonna say it again. I'm gonna say it again. That is piss poor packing. And my dad's birthday is coming up on September the 9th. So that's in his honor, because that was one of the things he loved to say. He wouldn't always say it about packing, but he would say it about other things.